This week, we're in LA with exclusive access to the most iconic pop family in the history of pop and families. And three boys who are predestined for pop hugeness. Michael Jackson's nephews, Taj, Tarrell and TJ, collectively known as 3T. Their debut single, Anything, was an international smash. Brotherhood sold over 3 million copies worldwide. In 1996, they were ranked second only to the Spice Girls as the biggest selling group in Europe. And it all began with the Jackson 5. Jackie, Tito, Marlon, Randy, and the other one wrote, ripped up and rewrote the pop rulebook, then threw it out of the pop window. They were the first group in the history of human endeavour to have their first 4 singles hit #1. They sold an estimated 250 million records worldwide. Even with recent competition from Girlthing, the Jackson 5 remain one of the best-selling acts of all time. But youngest Jackson, Michael, was always the star of the show. Jackson was crowned the king of pop and completely changed the face of pop music forever.
Just seeing my uncle transform from being so fun and an uncle to seeing him morph into this amazing artist, that's when I kind of all clicked that this guy's special.
Thriller became the best-selling album of all time, and subsequent artists have failed to beat it.
He taught us pretty much all his secrets. You know, it was like the best school you could have.
Michael has sold an estimated 1 billion records worldwide. So when your uncle is the king of pop and rock, who better to give you a sequined guiding hand?
All of those things you hear, you knew how much work you had to give.
For the king of pop, rock and disco's nephews, music stampeded through their veins like a crazed heifer.
Because we would see our uncles and our dad up there performing for this massive audience and people screaming. And as a kid, it's addicting.
We would pick members of the family, so sometimes I would be, you know, Randy and Jackie, and Taj would be my father, and Tito would be Michael. So that's when it started.
I remember that my mom would get so upset because when we didn't practice, she was like, either you want this or you don't want this.
We were itching to get out then. We had major labels that, you know, we could go through, but our uncle didn't want us to come out at that time. He wanted us to enjoy our childhood.
You know, our mom was our manager at that point. She kind of was spearheading the 3T movement.
Then in 1988, after 16 years of marriage, Tito and Dee Dee got divorced.
I was 11 years old and living in a fairy tale, and everything was great, and it came to a screeching halt.
Our uncle was there to help us in that time, but it was a big transition, yeah.
Eventually, in 1992, when TJ was just 14, the boys signed to one of the biggest record labels in the world, who luckily, and by complete coincidence, happened to look after Michael too.
We understood we only had one chance at a debut album, and to make a great statement for us three.
But another cataclysm was about to hit 3T world. With 2/3 of the album written, tragedy struck in August 1994 as the boys' mother was found dead in suspicious circumstances. For 3T, their career was now on hold.
I remember going into a room at the hospital, and a doctor came in, and he had given us the news that my mother was no longer with us. It changed my life.
I can cry like I wanted to cry in front of them and stuff like that, because I had to be the strong one. I had to be the older brother, like she always told me to be.
At that young age, it's just emptiness, you know, that she's everything to us.
Once again, it was the king of pop, rock, disco and soul himself who was there to heal the world of pain in which the boys found themselves.
He kept us driven and said the best way to honor your mother is to make her proud.
Finally, in 1996, the boys had an album and were ready to release a single.
The record label wanted to come out with Why, which was with my uncle, and it was important for us to stand out on our own.
It was agreed that 3T's debut axing would be Anything, but from the outset, it was clear that 3T Records wouldn't shift as easily as Michael Jackson's.
All we wanted was a fair shot for people just to say, treat us like everyone else.
There was always something that they wanted from our uncle in order to play us. We'll play your song, but you got to get us a giveaway to Neverland for our listeners.
It was a struggle in America.
After minor success in the States, the good ship 3T set sail for Europe.
There are so many fans and there's so much excitement for us.
We never really looked back at the States at that point.
Anything was a massive hit for 3T.
Anything kind of jump-started it, that it kept snowballing and kept rolling.
With over 3 million album sales and platinum discs hanging off the wall, the boys were keen to get out and tour.
Ready to do our first show. Congratulations, guys.
And tour they did. In 1997, Europe went completely mental with 3T Mania. But once again, everything stopped. This time when news came that the trial date for their mother's wrongful death had been set.
You had to relive all of that. And you had to be face to face with the guy.
4 years after their mother's death, Donald Bahana, her ex-boyfriend, was convicted of second-degree murder for the drowning of Dee Dee Jackson in his swimming pool and sentenced to 15 years in prison.
It took some time for us to get, the motivation to get back in the studio again.
It was our uncle and our father who inspired us to continue forward, and we started, right away on our follow-up album.
We had picked out the first single. We had shot the photo shoot for the album cover. Literally, it was months away from being released. And then there's this public event with Tommy Mottola and my Uncle Michael.
This was a right old headache for Taj, Tarrell and TJ when alliteration turned to litigation as Uncle Michael went to war with the head of Sony over the promotion of his album.
Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist.
Being signed to the same label meant the future of 3T's career was far from black or white.
And he's very, very, very devilish.
Mottola denied Jackson's claims and said the real issue was declining record sales and Michael's refusal to tour.
We were put on hold.
We were basically stuck.
We were pretty much just pawns in a huge chess game.
Give me a beat!
When all seemed lost for 3T, they were able to turn to another family member, Janet. The youngest of the Jackson clan has also left her mark on the pop world, with over 100 million record sales and 5 Grammy Awards.
We literally begged for her help to get off of Sony.
Phone call that were free and clear. But we couldn't take our album with us. That stayed behind at Sony.
To let it go was really, really hard.
To work so hard to get somewhere and not be able to do anything and feel trapped is horrible. We didn't do anything wrong. We didn't do anything wrong. It's just we are who we are.
Coming up, it's Jackcess all areas at the Jackson compound.
Everyone gets a sneak peek of what life is like for us.
And things get bad as controversy threatens the Jackson reputation.
We don't want to play your song. We don't want to play your video.
Coming up, it's Thriller Minute as lots of Jacksons jump up and down in a circle.
Everyone gets a sneak peek of what life is like for us.
And Janet bears all.
You have a song that's #1 on the radio. All they want to talk about is your aunt's nipple.
3T had proved their pop prowess, selling over 3 million copies of their debut album. But a bitter dispute between Uncle Michael and Sony Records rocked their world and brought their career to a screaming halt.
I checked out. I know I was running away from, in a way, the madness.
I was in like a depression. I was stuck and I couldn't move in any direction.
That period was probably the darkest period for me. That's where I lost my identity. It was a tough time.
But after 2 years of being kept in limbo, the boys found they were wanting to be restarting something.
We were done with major labels. We wanted to do it ourselves.
We signed with the label in France and released a cover of Stuck on You.
Stuck on you.
You started to feel the fans are coming back. It's like, it's happening, it's working.
But the pop souffle was about to collapse. Just as things seemed to be going well for 3T, the focus turned again to their uncle.
The singer's performance today, surely the worst of his life.
We don't want to play your song, we don't want to play your video. We want to wait for the outcome of the Michael Jackson trial.
It literally hit a brick wall.
After 5 trying months for the Jackson clan, Michael was acquitted and found not guilty, and 3T were back on track. But disaster soon struck when the US public were taken on a trip down memory lane by yet another family member.
Janet Jackson Nipplegate, why is America going so crazy?
The focus overnight changed from 3T to Janet. And again, it's like a punch in the gut.
You have a song that's #1 on the radio. All they want to talk about is your aunt's nipple.
Overshadowed by their aunt's right breast, the boys focused on writing a new album. But on the very day they were due to record the tracks, their lives changed forever.
We have breaking news for you.
That Michael Jackson has been taken by ambulance from his home to hospital in Los Angeles.
Michael Jackson is reported to have died from a heart attack.
My brother, the legendary king of pop, Michael Jackson, passed away on Thursday, June 25th, 2009 at 2:26 p.m.
Just... everything stopped again.
As the world went into shock, the family went into mourning.
It was devastating. It was another aspect of my life, of my role models, gone.
Last time something that big, you know, tragedy struck our family, it was my mother. Here we are again, you know, unfortunately for my uncle, and I'm looking at my 3 young cousins. We felt a responsibility to be there for them like our uncle was for us.
When my mother passed, my uncle, he stepped up. I want to do that for my cousins, and I will do that for my cousins. I really feel he was the primary savior for me. Otherwise, I don't know what I'd be doing.
And in 2012, TJ was made co-guardian of Michael's children, Prince, Paris, and Blanket. Today, brothers Taj, Tarrell, and TJ are returning to the Little League baseball ground that's named after their mother. They've reunited for another shot at 3T Glory.
Ooh, that was perfect.
That was perfect.
Being back on this field brings back a lot of memories. How it all started.
It's pretty much baseball and music.
Our whole life.
Well, when you grow up, Tara, what do you want to be?
I want to be a baseball man.
And Tito Joe, what do you want to be when you grow up? What? Eat? Taj, what would you like to be when you grow up?
A baseball player.
It was like a home away from home, and it was a chance for us to be kids. Our father, Tito, he was always my baseball coach, and my mother was a big part of that.
Mom going to all the games.
Running around.
She'd go to all of them.
Yeah, it's great memories.
And now Taj is building new memories with his wife Tiana, who he met 8 years ago.
Married life is great. I'm spending most of my time, obviously, with my wife.
Like Taj, Tiana is one of 3 triplets that is. Tina, Thaisa, and Tiana.
Once you get to know them, they're completely 3 different people with 3 different personalities.
Meet Trio, the female version of 3T. And take a seat because the spooky coincidences don't end there.
They were named by their mother, we were named by our mother. I'm 2 years apart from Terrell and 5 years apart from TJ. And then Tiana's 2 minutes apart from Tina and 5 minutes apart from Thaisa.
Today, Taj works as a director and photographer, collaborating with the triplets on an intriguing-looking project.
The first one, I definitely need you facing that way, yeah, and you facing that way. It was something that I shared as a passion with my Uncle Michael. We were going to direct movies together. Obviously, he passed before that became, you know, real. But I kind of want to carry on in that tradition.
So are you excited to be going out with your brothers?
I'm definitely excited. It's been a little while, so yeah, there's only so many photos you can take.
So how you guys feel? You ready? You're nervous, huh?
Yeah, a little nervous. The nervousness and the shyness has always been an issue. I feel like, you know, throwing up right before going on. Being a Jackson, you want to be on stage, but it's terrifying to me at the same time. For me, there's two aspects of me. I was always known at school as Terriano, and that's my real name, Terriano. And Terriano was extremely shy. Taj was a complete fabrication. It was, you know, that's why the braids and everything. I was hiding behind things in terms of trying to project who I wanted to be, but wasn't. You know, what was hard for me was after it all stopped, I really lost, you know, my identity because I liked Taj. You know, Taj was the confident one, the one with braids, the one that, you know, was the poster guy. And Terriano was the shy guy, you know, the one, you know, with the book bag and all that stuff. And so for me, that whole period was really a hard period because of the fact that now Taj didn't exist anymore.
Did you get help?
Obviously not. Not from you guys.
Did you
That's
call
probably why I didn't tell you
1-800
guys
find a man, or
the
what?
response that I knew I was going to get.
So wait, are you trying to say you were like two different people?
No, well, you know, on stage you can be someone else, different.
Right, alter ego type
Yeah,
thing.
and the thing is that on stage,
Wait, who am I talking to now? Is it Taj or Terry?
I know, I'm trying to.
And
so go on.
Now is a mixture. I think right now, it's kind of not losing myself and being, you know, a little of both.
This is all fairly new to me, but I wish whoever's two people to my left the best of luck, and I want to make sure that person knows I love him. I'm his brother, and I will always be here for him.
Thank you.
Oh, was I talking out loud?
I know that was very sincere. Thank you. Oh, gosh.
Middle brother Tarrell is a family man, but after 8 years with partner Brianna, the girl is not quite his.
Marriage is a interesting subject for me. I'm not against it. It's very hard for me, but I'm still with her, and I'm still loyal to her. So I feel like we're married.
They are not alone. They have sons Bryce and Adrian, who seem to share their great uncle's talent for music.
They are banging on drums, hitting the keyboards, and I'm not saying they're going into music, but I see how it happens. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I see how it starts.
With the big reunion imminent, family friend Louis pops in to check his chum's step forward into the spotlight isn't also a step back.
Being a Jackson is wonderful, and I love it. I'm so proud to be that, but it's a challenge because Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson, and other people don't have to deal with that. When you work your butt off all these years and all they want to talk about is BS stuff about your uncle, and you don't have a chance to speak and display your art, I don't think people really understand, you know, how difficult it is. How many times can you give your all to just have it taken away from you for reasons that you can't control?
This is the most I've ever seen you talk about stuff.
It's a lot built up and people don't get it. I look at my life and it's like the last great thing that I can show my kids that I've done is 1997 Brotherhood Tour.
I just never hear you be this open.
It's all of that I keep in, you know, and I usually release it through music, but it's hard to explain. People just don't get it.
At least this show, you know, that could be our time and our moment where we get to do it for us and for, you know, for the 3 kids that work their butts off as youngsters.
Yeah, right.
Let's do it for that.
Today, TJ is settled with his wife of 7 years, Frances, with whom he has 3 kids.
My son is Royal. He's the oldest, and he just turned 14. And then we have 2 little girls. Dee Dee, who's named after my mother, is 5, and JoJo, she's 3. They are my joy. They are my happiness, and I couldn't imagine life without those 3.
So how do you feel?
I'm excited. I'm ready. I feel bad for you a bit, because I don't want to leave too much on you, and for Grandma as well.
Yeah.
But I feel all right. I'm excited.
I think we'll be good, though.
It's the night before the boys head to the UK to join the big reunion, and the Jackson clan have gathered to see them off. As well as grandmother Catherine, there is a royal call of cousins, including Your Majesty, son of Jermaine Jackson, Randy Jr., son of Randy Jackson, and of course Prince, son of the king of pop, rock, disco, soul and R&B himself, Michael Jackson. But before 3T can leave US shores, there is Jackson pride at stake in what appears to be an all-star version of Pictionary.
We play this all the time, and it's usually guys versus girls. I don't know how that started, but it's just always been that way. And honestly, the guys have never lost.
This is my family, and these are my cousins and my babies. Everyone gets a sneak peek of what life is like for us. It's all laugh, fun games, eat, and giggles. You hear it in the background.
Grandma plays with us, and you don't know who's coming. You know, some show up, some don't, but it's always great to see everyone.
I think we're ready to win, which is a great feeling, because I didn't want to come here and lose, but as I can see in the background, I think we have it under control. So hold on, what's it? Let me. They didn't even need me, see? They didn't even need me. Round table. So, we officially won. Hold on, come over here.
3T are now on a winning streak, so can they keep it up for their big reunion?
My brothers and I have been grouped for 30 years, and it's now or never.
I just want to say one thing. The girls are still on go.
We want to thank you guys for showing up.
Thank you.
We hope you guys had a good time.
I always felt like there should be that happy ending, that here's the grand finale.
There's no game without an opponent, so thank you guys so much.
Now, you know, we're kind of feeling that it might be the right time again.